I'd like to call the Proctor City Council meeting for Monday, March 7th, 2022 to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll perform a roll call at this time. Councillor Benson.
Present.
Councillor Reuter.
Present.
Councillor Johnson.
Present.
Councillor DeWall.
Present.
Mayor Ward's present. Let the minutes reflect Attorney Bray, Administrator Rich, Ted Kiefot, and Jim Schwartzbauer are also in attendance. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the City Council meeting held on Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor DeWall. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda. Before that motion is made, I'd like to make a couple corrections to the agenda. I'd like to move 6C to 6A, and I'd like to move 6G to 6B. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Councillor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. At this time, we'll take comments and suggestions from the citizens present. The public comment and suggestion period of this meeting is when the City Council offers a time for everyone in attendance or watching from home to address the City Council. Once we move on from the public comment and suggestion period of the meeting, members of the public will no longer be allowed to address the council unless the mayor acknowledges you. As a general rule, the council will listen to all comments but will not comment on or respond to any comments made by speakers. The council will not engage in dialogue. However, any council member can ask questions. If you'd like to address the City Council during the public comment and suggestion period of the meeting, please come forward to the podium or call 218-628-6289. Before you begin, please state your name and address for the meeting minutes. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the City Council will be prohibited from using obscene, profane, or threatening language or boisterous conduct that disrupts the meeting or the security of the public. If there's anyone at this time that is interested in participating in the public comment suggestion period of this meeting, please come forward or call now. We'll give that a minute. Hearing nothing at this time, we'll move on. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Councillor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor Benson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. That will bring us to 4A, Clerk Advises Council, Safe Routes to School Grant Notification. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. Unfortunately, we received notification that we did not get our Safe Routes to Schools grant. It was denied in full. So this does change the scope of the 2nd Street project quite a bit as far as any trails or if we are going to do a trail, if we're going to do sidewalks, where those sidewalks consist of. But the 2nd Street Planning Committee is going to be having a meeting next week to go over all of those options. So it's unfortunate news, but we'll modify the project from there.
Thank you. Does council have any questions regarding the Safe Routes to School grant application? Councillor Benson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I'm sorry. When is the next round start?
I'm curious, when is the next what?
A run for safe roads?
Oh, it probably won't be for another year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Was
you.
there a reason?
They didn't, and our engineers were going to ask for some feedback on it, and we were surprised. They thought that we had a very strong application. So they are definitely going to ask for some follow-up feedback.
And do you think with any different, funding that might go on with the state or anything, could that help out the situation?
No, we did look into trails funding, and we had a lengthy discussion with the Trails Grant staff, and they did, of course, you can always submit an application for whatever project that you want, but based on the information and the scope of our project, they cautioned us that it was a good fit, that it would maybe not a good use of resources to take the time to write that grant.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Administrator Rich? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4B, Stauber FY23 General Community Project Request. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. These are two requests that I did submit to the Stauber Community Project request that he sent out to communities. One is for an extension for utilities across I-35 or under I-35. The other, I'm sorry, I can't remember what the other one was. Oh, for the trails, for the Munger Trail Spur. And that was a joint application that the Hermantown administrator and I agreed upon. Both of those plans, the utilities across I-35 and the Munger Trail Spur have been planning documents for years. That's why I felt like I could have the authority to go ahead and try to seek some funding for those. We'll see if it comes to fruition.
Thank you. Any questions regarding the Stauber FY23 General Community Project Request? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4C, CDBG, COVID-19, and ESG grants. Administrator Rich.
So this was the grant opportunity that Councillor Benson brought to our attention at the last meeting. The ESG grant is specifically addresses homelessness. So if anyone has information that there's homelessness programs or problems in our community, certainly let me know that. The CV grant is, I have attached what the eligible uses are. And I'm working on a project with the food shelf to see if that's in your memo. But if there was any other community needs that I'm not aware of that we could include in this grant application, I would be looking to you for recommendations for that.
Council have any suggestions or comments regarding the grant application? Hearing none, Administrator Rich, were you looking for a motion to move forward with that grant? I know in your letter it says you'd like to have the city of Proctor propose applying for the CDBG funding. It's
Yep.
just something you can
Just-
do as.
Yeah, I can do
Perfect.
that. And it really has to be done with the food shelf's consent too, because they would be a partner in that project. And so we're working on having discussions with them too.
Sounds good. Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I would
Councilor
propose, so it doesn't come back, that we accept the administrator's proposal to work with the food shelf, the gas cards, vouchers to assist with the lunch program, and with the food shelf's consent, proceed with the application.
You heard Councilor Benson's motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Councilor DeWall.
I don't have any on this particular motion, so I'll reserve till this passes.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilor DeWall.
This was what I was getting to earlier about as we go through eligible uses, and I'd just like Administrator Rich to know if there's anything that you think stands out that we could utilize for the domestic, sexual, legal, SRO, school, just to think on that a little bit. Maybe we could ask for some kind of a micro grant for education materials, stickers, et cetera.
Oh, and I also might add that this grant opportunity is going in front of PETA tomorrow as well, because there is a business business component to the grant that you can apply for to see if they have any additional ideas.
Cool, thank you. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4D, sand salt building update. Administrator Rich.
The project is coming along nicely. This last week, we met with the building supplier, Greystone, and had a pre-construction, pre-ordering meeting with them to get our timelines down. And the next steps are the SEH is finishing up final designs of the garage. So at this point, we're still on track with the timeline of the project. We've also been successful in securing the funding from the bonding bill. There is a grant application that you have to apply for that and requirements that you have to submit. So that is also moving along in the timeline that we projected.
Thank you. Does council have any questions regarding the salt sand update? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4E, sales tax legislation update.
Councilor Benson, would you like to be included in this? Okay, so today we had our legislation for the additional sales tax was successfully submitted and on time. Today we had a meeting with the chair of the committee so she could go over our project and what she expects from the hearing. So on Wednesday, Councilor Benson and I will be participating in one of the first hearings at 1 o'clock along with all the other sales tax requests. I think it's moving along just fine. We've got a presentation. If anyone else would like to join us, you're more than welcome to. Or also those hearings are broadcast on the House TV.
Thank you. Any questions regarding the legislation update? Hearing none, we'll move on to 6G, or 6C in your agenda, I'm sorry. COVID-19 plans and protocols. In your packet, or at the last meeting, I guess I asked if we could discuss the mask mandate again since the Proctor School District was taking theirs down effective, I believe, March 7th. Lately, Duluth schools have done the same, and today St. Louis County has done the same because St. Louis County is now in the low zone. So you have the whole policy in front of you. I was looking at just removing the mask mandate, but if there's any other ideas from council, we can discuss that now. Otherwise, I'll make a motion to remove the mask mandate in city buildings effective immediately.
I'll second that.
Councilor Reuter seconds that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Oppose? Motion passes.
is that effective now?
Effective immediately.
Oh, thank God.
So then that will bring us to 6G on your agenda, Historical Society 225 Club. And we got Jim Schwartzbauer here to present a check, I believe, but it looks like they've had some good success with their 225 Club, raising quite a bit of funds, and Jim can talk about that now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jim Schwartzbauer, 827 Almac Drive. Tonight, I'm representing the Proctor Historical Society as their treasurer. And going into 2019, we were confronted with approximately $40,000 still in debt. Out of the nearly $500,000 that has been raised, that's where we sat. And so on Memorial Day of 2019, I asked Mayor Ward if he could meet me up at the museum, and I proposed something that we had been discussing as a museum, and that was the establishment of something called the 225 Club. And Mayor Ward agreed to be a part of that, and he also gave the first $225 check. Thank you, Mayor Ward, as have a lot of other wards over the course of the time. And I'm very pleased to say that after tonight, our loan amounts total from the $40,000 that we owed in July of 2019 will be down to approximately $7,600. All of it still being owed to the City Council. So without further ado, I would like to approach the mayor, and I would like to present a check for $2,225. In other words, here are the last 10 people that have given to this, and it allows the Historical Society to move forward. We will continue to do this as 10 new people come in and also come here and present a check in that amount. until the loan is satisfied with the city of Proctor. So unless you have some questions,
I guess I'll start off again that I want to thank you for the hard work you've done up at the Historical Museum to get those debts paid off, and to thank all the people who have joined the 225 Club. I think it was a great idea that you started up there, and you're having some success with it, so thanks for that. Any counselors have questions for Mr. Schwartzbauer?
I'm just curious how many members.
right now I'd have to go up and count, but I think it's around 120 people have stepped forward with that, maybe a little bit more than 120. In fact, when we hit number 100 this summer, and we put an article in the paper, we had quite a few people, again, look at that and step forward and give some. So we're also hoping that this might have some giving the money here. I mean, the easiest thing would have been to go to the city office and say, Jess, here's a check, deposit it. But we've decided as a museum to try to, again, try to get people to say, well, I've been thinking about it, maybe now is a good time. And so that's why I'm doing it, or we are doing it this way.
Anything further for Mr. Schwartzbauer? Hearing nothing, we can come forward, I guess. Jake, you want me to step around there?
And I wore a massage.
Jake, just remember the camera view.
Camera view?
No, I'm talking to Jake.
Why don't you turn this way so the cameras see you?
7,600.
No, you don't even have to have the mask on. This way.
That's perfect right there, Jake. That's perfect.
I'm not good at doing this, Jake.
Originally,
Hang on, all right.
what do you need more than that? When you first proposed it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And just a reminder, we still are taking $100 a month is coming
Jim,
out.
what's your short bar?
Oh, sorry.
That's the public hearing.
Yes, and just in final, just realize we still have money set up so that every month $100 is still coming out. And so it's not like we don't have any money in there. It's just, we just want to be able to say, here's that opportunity to give a little bit more and to try to get that loan down, we hope, a little sooner rather than later. So,
Mr. Schwartzbauer?
Yes.
How much was the original loan for?
to the city, the city loan originally was $20,000 plus interest, and I think interest is, I want to say up to it was about $400. And remember that money, and Jim, you were the city administrator at the time, that was, so we really wanted to get in the museum, and we had some work needed to be done, and the food shelf really needed to get in here. And so that allowed us to move out of here and into there, so. Yep. That it?
Thank you. Council have anything further? Hearing none. Thank you again.
Again, thank you.
All right, with that being said, we'll move back up to 6A, Resolution 11-22, Ducks Unlimited Raffle at Blackwoods Event Center. In your packet was an application or a resolution, non-objection to issuance of State of Minnesota charitable gambling license to be held at Blackwoods Event Center on April 15th, 2022 for the Ducks Unlimited St. Louis Bay. Looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 11-22.
Councilor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 6B, Police Civil Service Hiring Recommendation. We just had our Police Civil Service Joint City Council meeting at 5 o'clock this evening, and they have a recommendation in our packet to hire Lucas Hedin as the new police officer for the Proctor Police Department. Looking for a motion to approve the recommendation. Councilor Benson made the motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 6D, home occupation recommendations. Again, in your packet is a list of home occupation permits that were applied for the year of 2022. Looking for a motion to approve the home occupation permits.
I'll make that motion.
Counselor Johnson made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Counselor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 6E, Planning and Zoning Commissioner Appointment Recommendations. In your packet is a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Committee, or Commission, to recommend the appointment of Mr. Terry D. Inman. Looking for a motion to approve the seating. I'll make the motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Counselor DeWall. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 6F, Code Amendment 1002.03, Subdivision 6, Exceptions for Rear Yard, first reading. Administrator Rich.
This is a clerical cleanup of the code regarding rear yard setbacks. The 18 inches is a contradiction in the code because there's a rear yard setback anyways. So they're removing that allowance of 18 inches because that's where the setback would occur anyways.
Thank you. Any discussion regarding that change? Hearing none. Do you want me to read the actual language that they're removing from that, Attorney Bray?
No, you don't have to do that.
Thank you. And with that being said, it's a first reading, so we'll see that on our next agenda for approval. And with that, it'll bring us to members' concerns. Councilor Benson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Microphone, please. Sorry.
Okay.
It's on.
What was that?
No, you're good.
Okay. Just wanted to mention that I had the opportunity last month to attend the League of Minnesota Cities Elected Leaders Institute Advanced Program. One of the reasons I got to go was I was a panel member on local government media coverage along with a reporter from the Minneapolis Star Tribune and the KARE 11 political reporter. And during the two-day conference, they discussed, among other things, negotiations and problem solving for elected officials and skills for communicating effectively in a crisis. And I only mention it because it was a lot of fun, certainly worthwhile. One of the hot topics as I moved from table to table between sessions was discussions on police departments. From communities that had 12,000 people and no police department, they're trying to get one, but the county sheriff is standing in the way, to a community with 400 people that have 14 police officers. So it's all over, and the reason why they were able to have 14 police officers is because there's a golf course owned by Minnesota Vikings. So they're heavily invested in the course. But certainly in the future, if there's these workshops, seminars, roundtables that the league put on, I'd recommend them. They're extremely interesting. So that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor DeWall. Thank you. Councilor Johnson.
Just want to thank Puck for taking care of, I heard today from Shar, 39 streetlights.
Nice.
So, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Councilor Reuter.
I'm just wondering if somebody can remind me, we talked before one of the other, I think it was at the last meeting, about replacing a sign up by where I live, and talked about rebranding possibly and coming up with new stuff for the sign. Where did we leave that?
You put it on the agenda as old business so that we keep it when it does come time for it, that we keep it as a committee. There would be committee and planning and all of that, but.
When are we going to think about putting together a committee and doing that? I mean,
You know, and maybe I used the wrong word during my report. I wasn't necessarily thinking like rebranding the entire city, but if there were any updates that needed to be made to the sign, coloring or pictures or whatever, there would be a good time to do it instead of just replacing it with the same. But we have been talking about a new logo design for some time. And then, of course, I would get Sally involved in that. She would take control of that committee, but
Okay.
it's,
Just
not
wondering.
not super high priority right now,
Yeah.
unless you want it to be.
No. No, it's not high on my list. Thank you.
Thank you. I just got one item. Hermantown invited us, along with Rice Lake again, to their State of the City. That's going to be held Thursday, March 17th, 2022 at noon at Proctor Blackwoods. Administrator Rich and I will more than likely be attending. We did it last year because of COVID. It was via Zoom, but it was still a nice event to hear, what they got going on, what Rice Lake has going on, and we did that nice transportation study for 2nd Street that Administrator Rich and I presented to them. So kind of a neat thing that they do and include us in another community, so that will be next Thursday. That's all I got. Attorney Bray.
Nothing from me.
Nothing for you, thank you. Administrator Rich, did you have anything further to add?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Looking for a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $145,601.43.
So moved.
Counselor Reuter made the motion, is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Counselor DeWall made the motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.